Hey everyone, it's Mimi. Happy Sunday. I'm having on Heather Glow right now, and she is also a Lyme warrior. And we met at Riding Out Lyme, and I'm excited to talk to her. And here she comes. She's gone right now. Hey,
Hi.
how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm so glad we connected.
Yeah, me too.
Thank you for joining.
Yeah.
Just to let everyone know, so this is Heather, and we met each other at a Ride at Lyme event back in March, and I think it was literally the last weekend before we had the lockdown
Yeah.
with quarantine in California in Manhattan Beach with Brandy Dean from Ride at Lyme, and we had a great event, and so we're finally getting a chance to catch up with each other. And I've been following your Instagram account, which is amazing. So anybody who doesn't follow your Instagram account should definitely, it's just Glow With It. But I really wanted to get on today to talk to you about like your journey and where you're at from the past like 4 or 5 months since we've seen each other. And I've been so impressed with your workout routines that I'm just blown away, because for me, working out has been really hard. So I'm just impressed that you're still able to carry on your workout routines having Lyme. So I would just love for you to tell everybody about that.
Yeah. Um, I guess I could. Do you want me to start back when I was diagnosed? And
Yes, yes, start from the
yeah.
beginning.
So um, as I reflect and like, think about my health journey, I'm pretty sure I have had Lyme since I was younger. And it makes sense because I'm from Michigan and my mom would take me up north a lot, especially during the summer. And I would have bites all over me, but I never got the traditional bullseye rash. So,
Right.
we never thought anything of it. But I just remember in high school, I was tired all the time, and it was really a fatigue that I couldn't describe. It was actually really miserable. And then when I went to college, I definitely started to get worse and worse. And just like a lot of other Lyme patients, they're told, "Oh, you're depressed," or your schedule is too packed. I was a full-time student and I did
Yeah.
have 3 jobs, but I knew that it wasn't that. So finally, in 2017, I was properly diagnosed with Lyme. And um, it was actually such a blessing to just have an answer so that I could set goals and get
Yeah.
a protocol that would help me. So in
Did you
2000,
take the IGeneX test, or how did you get diagnosed?
uh, so I actually was very fortunate that my test through Quest came back positive, because I know a lot
Yeah.
of times there's a lot of false negatives. So I was fortunate in the sense that it did show up there, but then I also did DNA connections test, which I know there's a lot of controversy surrounding that right now, but I feel like for me it was pretty accurate in terms of the different co-infections. So in 2017, I was finally properly diagnosed, and I remember my doctor at the time was just like, I feel so sorry for you. This is a debilitating disease, and it's really gonna affect your life. And I remember just thinking to myself, no, like, this is not going to dictate how I live my life and the things I do, and it's not going to get in the way of my passions. So I think off the bat, naturally, I had that mindset that
Mm-hmm.
this is not going to disrupt any part of my life, and I'm going to do everything I can to um, heal and get to a place where is more stable and less
Right.
symptoms. And I've been in treatment consistently since 2017. And
Right.
do you want me to go over the
Yeah,
different?
I would love to, because
Yeah.
when I talked to you, I think you were doing the peptides, I think from Dr. Holtorf, or how do you say his last name? Holtorf?
Yeah, Holtorf. Yeah. So in 2017, I actually went straight to an infectious disease doctor, and this was in Beverly Hills, and she was absolutely great. And I actually come to find out that's who Justin Bieber sees, um,
Uh-huh.
and
Who
she,
is that?
Dr. Lehman in
Oh,
Beverly
I've been to her
Hills.
too.
Yeah. So
Okay.
really great, but for me, the drive was. When you're going through Lyme and you're that tired, making an
Mm-hmm.
hour and a half drive is just, it's too much. And um, she's just one doctor, so it was really hard to get into her. So
Yeah.
thankfully, I found the whole TORF group. But when I started with Dr. Lehman, she had me on a stack of antibiotics for about 9 months. And I really think that's what I initially had. We had to kill the bad bugs. And there came a point
Mm-hmm.
about 9 months into that, I was just like, I can't. Like intuitively, I knew I couldn't handle the antibiotics anymore. So
Mm-hmm.
then we started to switch over to herbal and found a lot of success with that. And I did do ozone frequently, IV nutrients frequently, and in the midst of all of that, I went over to the whole TORF group, and I see Dr. Hunt there, and it's just been such a blessing to find the whole TORF group, and Dr. Hunt especially, because she has introduced me to some alternative treatment that is so much more accessible. I don't financially compared to Dr. Lehman and then the whole tour.
Yeah.
I mean, it's night and day. I can't believe what I was paying and then
Oh, I
what
know.
I.
The ozone treatments and those IV treatments are a fortune.
Yeah, so I was paying, $1,500 for every 10 pass, and
Yeah.
at Whole Corf, I pay 500 for a 10 pass. So
Oh, he
it's a
has the
big
10 pass
difference.
there?
Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah,
didn't know that. Okay, good. That's good to know.
yeah. So so when I stepped into the whole TORF group, um, I was taken off all antibiotics, and then I was put on peptides. Um, I think specifically the peptide that really helped, like, well-rounded supplement, not just for Lyme, but for gut, brain, all of that. I really think that the BPC 157 has been a
Okay, that's the one
savior.
I'm taking.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Okay.
and what I've been told that the oral works. It's really meant for, like, to repair the gut, and then the injection is really great. The BPC 157 injection is really great for healing any injury or trauma,
Mm-hmm.
muscular. So that has been amazing. It's really been helping. And then I also still do ozone about twice a week, and then I do high dose nutrients, and I just started Plaquex. Um,
Yeah.
so Plaquex. So we did a mold test, and it unfortunately it did come back. I have mold toxicity, which
Uh,
is also very common.
it's very like the mycotoxins and the molds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So the Plaquex, which is also great for Lyme because it's repairing cells and all of that, but for mold, it helps pull it out. So Plaquex has been, I mean, ozone, I can tell like a couple days later it's helped, but the Plaquex, it's like an instant gratification. Like I leave there and I feel very clear.
What is it? Is it a IV or what is?
Yeah, yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
an IV. And um, and then I also do NAD, which I love. And
Mm-hmm.
the only thing that holds me back from doing that one once a week is that it is a 4 hour session.
I
So
know. I've done
uh,
NAD too,
yeah,
but you got
it's
to do it
great.
slow.
Yeah, yeah. But that, because one of my biggest symptoms with the Lyme disease is brain fog. So I was noticing that the NAD really helps. So sometimes I'll just bring my laptop and I'll work remotely from there. But it's just, time wise, it is really challenging.
Mm-hmm.
But it's NAD. If anyone is suffering from brain fog or even anxiety, depression, that is, it's amazing. And they also have sublingual, so you don't have to just, I think the IV is more effective and more sustainable. But if it's not financially accessible or you don't have the time, you can always do the tablet that dissolves under your tongue.
Yeah, that one too.
Yeah. And I also did the SOT therapy.
That's what I was just about
Yeah.
to ask you. You doing
Yeah.
SOT there?
Yeah. So I've already completed one, and
Okay.
I think that's where I really like, I remember, a week went by and I was like, I don't really feel any different. And then 2 weeks went by and I was like, huh, my neck pain is gone. Um, my inflammation had gone down. I feel like I really leaned out after that. Um, and I just feel like my energy came back. Um, I was
Oh,
more
good. I've been intrigued
productive.
by that. I've been really because that's new. And then
Yeah,
you have to wait 6 weeks or 6 months. I can't remember. It was six months you have to wait for your next one.
yeah, yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I, I honestly, I think SOT is, it's an investment, but for the time, because I'm gonna do it again like within the next month because I can tell it's wearing off a little. But um, for the 6 months that it worked, I mean, I felt like me again, and
You
that,
did. Okay.
yeah, I really did. Um, so that, for me, I think that is like my number one
Yeah.
thing that has really propelled me to feeling like myself again and
Oh,
having that
good.
energy. Yeah.
That's awesome. I've been reading a lot about that, and I was like, okay, that might be the next thing I do. So I wasn't sure because then I've heard mixed things like it works, it doesn't work, and so I was like, oh, do I want to spend the money on that if it's kind of a mixed? It hasn't been really proven, but I've had heard it's new, so it's working. Do they talk anything about disulfiram? Am I saying that right? Has he mentioned anything about that?
Mm-mm.
Disulfiram. It's a new drug that they use that's been used before for other things, but now they're saying it's working for that. So I was just curious if they mentioned that.
Oh, wow.
So you're able to work out. Like for me, I'm able to do walks every day.
Hmm.
But your videos are intense, and I'm always just, I wish I could do them. So my question is like anytime I try to like, I thought during quarantine, I'm like, oh, I feel great. I'm gonna go do a Pilates class online. I was
Yeah.
wiped out for days. Like you don't get wiped out from working out.
You know, yes and no. I think um, there was a moment in time where I, I depended on going on walks and yoga, but I really think, and everyone, our bodies are also different, right? So the
Hmm.
way I am might not be the way you are or the next, but I know that, because mindset is something that I've worked so hard on. And I also understand that if the pain is there, the pain is there. If the fatigue is there, the fatigue is there. And you do need to honor that and listen to that, and then adapt and figure out how to work around that. But I know the moment I found out, I promised myself that, because movement is something I've always loved from a very young age. So I promised myself that that was one thing that I would never ever allow to get disrupted throughout any of this. Did that mean I had to adapt and shift? Sometimes yes, but it was something that I never allowed myself to miss or give up on. And I mean, there were times where, I'd be on the treadmill and I'd have like tears coming down my face because that's how uncomfortable I was. So
Oh,
when I
okay.
look back, I'm like, maybe that wasn't necessarily the smartest thing to do, but I also recognize that the feeling and fulfillment that movement has for me exceeds an excuse to not work out, and that's not to say that, you know, any Lyme patient is using it as an excuse, but I think you kind of have to decide on that one thing that you're not
Mm-hmm.
going to give up on
Right.
and not allow yourself to miss.
Someone told me though that, and I don't know if there's any science to this or not, that like when you do work out, like if you're not used to working out and pushing yourself in a more intense way, like a HIIT exercise or something like that, that actual chemicals are released in your body that normally are not when you're not working out. That if your body's already inflamed, that's what it doesn't like, are those chemicals. And that's the reaction that we're feeling. So I don't know if there's any truth to that. I'm like, maybe that's because like I'm physically able to do the workout, but then all of a sudden, like I'm in bed that night or the next day and I can't get out of bed. So I don't know if it's like the chemicals that were released then or just too much and it was taxing or whatever. I don't know what was going on, but anybody that still works out when they have Lyme, I'm always like just in awe over because I wish I could do that.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think that all of our bodies are so different, and
Yeah,
I wouldn't sit here and tell you like, no, keep pushing, keep doing it, because that, you know, leads to a lot of other
right.
chaos. So if you're feeling that in your body, then it's real and it's happening. But I guess for me, I would challenge you to find something that brings you a sense
Right.
of joy.
Yeah.
Um,
Like
um,
I could walk 10, 15,000 steps a day and not, I could walk for an hour, hour and a half a day and not be wiped out. So that's kind of my poison. And I found I could lift weights for like 15 minutes or so without being wiped out. And then that's pretty much the extent of it. So,
yeah, but you're still doing the movement. You're still getting it in, and
hmm,
that's such an amazing, you know, like we need to be grateful for, even if it's only 15 minutes, that's 15 minutes more than, you know, what some people can do or handle. So, you know, giving yourself a little bit of grace there. And, um, you know, it sounds like you're going to try some new treatments, and maybe that will even bring you, um, you know, more healing, and maybe that will facilitate,
right.
yeah.
So with your treatment where you're at, where would you say you are in your healing process? Like I always like to say in percentage wise, like I'm 85% today or I'm 90, like where would you say you are in your healing journey?
So I feel like every day is different, you know, because there's some days I wake up and I'm like, I literally feel like I'm back at square one.
Yeah.
So, but I also, I've really been, something that I'm really trying to honor and practice right now is saying no to the things that are not a priority for me, and not feeling bad about it, because it's so easy to fill up our schedule with things that maybe aren't leading us to our ultimate goal, or that
Hmm.
just aren't a priority. So I feel like learning to say no so I'm not overstressed or overworked or spread too thin. And then around my cycle, I try to really just relax. I'll still work out, but it won't be as intense, because if I do that around that time, I'm just like you described. I'm wiped out. I'm knocked out. Um, so I think overall, on my good days, it feels like I'm probably like 75%, but I still have my bad days.
Hmm.
That, you know, really bring me down, and I just have to be patient with myself and know that if I need to take a nap or maybe take a personal day, um, like, you know, that's something that I need to do, because that will also um, benefit the healing process.
Right. Now, have you found, because do you know what triggers your good days and bad days? I have yet to figure out my triggers. I mean, I do know most of my triggers, but there's days where I wake up and I'm like, I feel awful and I didn't cheat on my eating yesterday. I didn't do anything crazy, but why do I feel bad? And I can't figure out what triggered it. Do you know all your triggers?
Um, I feel like I have an idea of what that is. So, um, yes, if I work out too hard or too much, or because the way my body, um, like I used to get sore and it was just, oh, I'm sore. But now it's the point where like I'm sore, but it feels like I have the flu. So I know that I still
Mm-hmm.
have to shift and change my workouts accordingly. So I know for sure if I'm hitting the workouts too much, too hard, that's a trigger for sure. Uh, Alcohol, unfortunately, is,
Same with me.
yeah. If I if I can limit myself to maybe one or two max, a week or every couple weeks, great. But if it's, um, too many days in a row or too much in one sitting, that will set me back 2 weeks. So
Mm-hmm. Same with me.
not worth it. Alcohol is definitely a
Yeah.
trigger. And then this is just personally for me, sodium is definitely a trigger. It's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of, I get severe joint pain. I actually get a little red in the chest. Um, Also, histamine is a trigger, like high histamine foods are
Right.
definitely a trigger. And then environment. So if I get in an Uber that has
The
air
smell.
freshener or something, um, it lingers with me. I get very nauseous and swirly. So for sure, just like chemicals, I try and clean with all green because the next day,
Yeah.
if I'm in an environment
Yeah.
that's unclean with bleach or some heavy duty product, the next day I will feel hungover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, totally. I relate to that. I'm the same way. Any kind of smell. And also mold. If I walk into a room and it's moldy, immediately I smell it and I'm like, okay, this is going to be a problem.
Yeah. Same.
This has been awesome. I'm so grateful for your time. I know you're super
Oh
busy because
yeah.
I know you work during the week and everything too. So I really appreciate you going on a Sunday and sharing your journey with us because I do know you are doing a lot for the community. And I know that one day when we met, you were definitely struggling, as both of us were, to even get through the class. So I do know you have your good days and bad days, like all of us, even though you always look so beautiful and put together on your posts and you're rocking it. And so I'm always like, I always say to people, even though we look great, doesn't mean we're not hurting inside too, you know?
Yeah. Some
Someone asked, can we just, yeah,
Can we
discuss the detoxing? So
of
to detox, do you do any kind of detoxing? Do you do like a saunas or anything?
Oh yeah, so I the Plaquex is actually assists with detox, and so I do. It's a activated charcoal. The company is called Return Healthy, and it's a combination, I believe, of charcoal, bentonite clay, and there's one more, but I'm it's on this in my head, but brain fart. So I do the charcoal sauna. Oh my gosh, I love. We have
Mm-hmm.
there's a woman, Kelly. She owns a studio. It's called Well and Good, and she actually has the infrared pods with the lymphatic massage in it, and then it's lined with crystals. So that has been amazing. The saunas, talk about like another instant gratification type of treatment that just kind of gets your head above water if you're feeling really bad. Definitely the sauna. I found that red light really helps too. So I'll do sauna,
Mm-hmm.
go right to the red light. Uh, oh my gosh, lymphatic massage. I just was introduced to that this year.
Yeah, those are
And
great.
oh my gosh, I really think that has helped me a lot too. And uh, I'm somewhat bummed that I didn't educate myself, to the severity and importance of,
Mm-hmm. And
that.
if anybody can't find a person to do that, even getting a trampoline and jumping on a small trampoline gives you the same kind of effect, or at least just gets your lymphs going. Just get those like on Amazon, like a round trampoline rebounder, and just do that for 10 minutes a day, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I know jump rope is not very doesn't work for everyone, but I jumping rope definitely. I'll try to just do like 100 unders and then take a 10-second break, and I'll do that 5 times, and that really helps too. Have you
Hmm.
heard of the lymphatic? It's not lymphatic massage. It's done with a machine. I think it's called endermology. Um,
No.
so I started to do that twice a week. They did get shut down because of COVID, but the traditional lymphatic massage is great, but the machine gets in there a little bit deeper. So if your pain tolerance is low, I probably wouldn't suggest that off the bat. But when you can build up to um, that has been a savior
Right.
too. So I don't know if maybe I wish we could make some notes.
I know. And then the other thing I've done, which is not really for detoxing, but is the cryo machine. Like if your body feels super inflamed and your joints and everything hurt, doing that. I remember the first time I did it, I was in such bad shape, and my husband was like, "You're going," and I was in there for 3 minutes, and I'm always like a person who's super cold.
Yeah.
I went in and I didn't even like, I lasted for the 3 minutes. I felt like someone was putting a fire out on my body. It felt so good. I was like, the lady's like, "You're not too cold." I'm like, "No, I'm finally getting relief from like the fire inside my body and the pain."
Well,
It felt so good. So for anybody who's like in a lot of pain, go get a cryo because it really does feel like you're putting like a cold wash on your head when you have a fever. Like it just total, like just shuts it down. The other thing people doing is just colonics or coffee enemas like are super helpful for
oh yeah.
detoxing too for people.
Yeah.
I know
Oh,
people don't like to talk about them and it's weird,
yeah.
but it's totally Google it. It's worth
Yeah.
doing. Buy the stuff on Amazon. It has been a lifesaver for me where I'm like, oh my God, I got to peel myself out of bed and get to like an event or do something for school or I have to go out and pick up the kids or something. I'll do one of those and it's like I get a reprieve. Like I totally get a second wind.
Yeah. The coffee enema is, oh my,
It's a
yeah, no
game
one
changer.
wants to talk about it, but they also, I don't know if you've ever done the rectal ozone, but
I
that's,
have an ozone machine in my house. Do you have an
oh
ozone
yeah.
machine?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I do that. And then I also do it through water and then I do it through an ear.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
I've heard a lot of people really speak highly of that. So
I mean, you should, if, well, now that you found meet up right now, place cheaper, but because it's so expensive to do ozone, I would recommend the machine's not that expensive and you can just do it at home. It's so much cheaper.
yeah.
And then you don't have to go somewhere, you know, it's definitely worth it. It's just hard to find.
Yeah. And then Mark said
Any other,
uh, he's mentioned Berber Pinellia. I'm I I believe I've tried the Berber in a liquid
is that an
form.
herb? What is that?
Yeah, I believe it's an herb. I'm almost positive I've done that one sublingual under the tongue. Um, it tasted
Hmm.
horrible, but yeah, yeah,
That's so funny.
yeah.
I know
Oil.
there's so many things out there. Everyone's just got to keep trying something and it works. Different things work for different people.
Yeah. One other thing that I'll mention too that I just did, which I didn't really know what to expect, was the IntelliGenetic. It's like a DNA. It tests 20,000 SNPs, and that has given me a wealth of not just information but understanding why I'm having some of the issues I'm having. Um,
Is that like the
so
MTHFR, like where it goes in and it tells your DNA and like what's going on and how you can't detox and methylate and all that?
yeah, so it does touch base on that, and then it also I mentioned like the histamine and the sodium issue, and I just was like, oh, maybe my body just can't handle that, but he was actually like, no, you have a gene mutation where your body just can't push out the sodium. It can't push out even like EMFs. Um,
Oh,
so
wow.
yeah, so I think having a protocol is amazing, especially if it's working. But having that background and understanding of why certain things might be happening um, is priceless because you can try to fix that. And the company that I did mine through, I'll shoot you over the information. He's actually created a protocol specifically just for me, in
Oh,
my
wow.
the areas that are problematic.
Now,
He
did you do this through Dr. Hunt? Is it Hunt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Dr. Hunt suggested that I take this. It's a saliva, just like all of the DNA tests. It's a saliva test. And then it was Dr. Hunt, and then the physician from the lab actually hops on the call with you to really break it down. And then he talks about the protocol that will help overcome, the areas that are problematic. And I'm waiting for my shipment to come in because I actually just had my consultation with them last week. But I'm really excited. It gave me a lot of information. It kind of makes you feel like, oh, so this stuff actually isn't my fault. It's just,
Right, right, right.
so I
It
feel like it's given me a peace of mind knowing that A, there's a fix, and B, some of my issues are not my fault.
right, right.
Yeah.
Well, nobody, none of us are sick because of our fault,
Yeah.
unfortunately. It's just
Yeah.
how to get it, how to cure it and how to feel better and figure out like if you have the MTHFR mutation,
Yeah.
like knowing how to get around that and knowing that your body doesn't detox and just
Yeah.
knowing what's wrong, like how to maneuver it. It's like a little roadmap, right?
Yeah.
Of figuring it out. This has been so helpful, super helpful.
Yeah.
I'm excited to try a couple of things that you mentioned. The SOT I haven't tried, and then this telegenes. What's it called again?
In
Telegenetics.
intelligent, yeah. Yeah. And maybe I can send you over the list that we talked about, if and just in
Yeah,
case
please do.
someone
And then what I'm
reached
gonna
out.
what I'm gonna do is I'm launching my website soon, and then I'm gonna just do like a little like write up of our talk and what we talked about in there, so people will have that.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and
But thank you so much. This has
anytime.
been so awesome, and I'm glad we got to connect after meeting
Yeah.
um, a couple months ago. It's been crazy since then. I mean, literally, we haven't been
Oh.
really out since then. It's like that was the end. That weekend was it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was like that Saturday, and I think it was like that Monday we were locked down or
Yeah.
something. It was so fast after that.
Yeah. Well,
But thank
hopefully,
you, and have an awesome Sunday.
yeah, you too. Thank you.
Take
Bye.
care.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye.
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 And I met Kat.